Today we are celebrating Pure Michigan and some craft beers. Like I had mentioned, hopefully everybody has received their NBS craft beer packet. We are actually celebrating two beers today. The first beer is Mr. Blue Sky, and our second beer is M43. So we have two speakers, and our first speaker is Kathy with Sidecar Bartending, who is also a mixologist. So we're happy to have Kathy today. And then our second speaker of the day is Mark Sawchuk from our NBS Construction Solutions Division that is going to be talking a little bit more about flexible and adaptable spaces. So before we get into introducing our first speaker, let's put up our first poll question. So our first poll question is, what type of beer is your favorite? Number 1, a Pilsner, 2, an IPA, 3, a Stout, 4, a wheat beer, 5, an amber ale, or 6, I don't know, I like all beer. So if everybody can use the chat feature and start voting, and then submit your vote, we will go ahead and get started.
All right, thanks, Lori. So I'm Megan Robinson. I'm happy to introduce our first guest presenter, Kathy Sullivan of Sidecar Bartending. We are excited to have Kathy. She is the owner of Sidecar Bartending, like I mentioned, and she actually started bartending back in college, just paid for school, like many of us did, and ended up after graduating college moving to San Francisco and working as a bartender at a very well-known tourist bar in the Golden Gate Park. And from there, she's actually been in the service industry for over 25 years. And of those 25, been working events for 15 years. She then started her own mobile bar business. And in the first year, just did 15 events. But then as of last year, did over 120 events. So it's a growing business. They specialize in serving top service, signature cocktails with fresh ingredients, professional trained bartenders. And they even turned a vintage horse trailer into a mobile bar, which they lovingly call the Pony Bar. So we're very excited to have Kathy, and she's going to take us through the world of Michigan craft beer and do our tasting.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. Sorry, this is my first virtual tasting. I've done tastings in the past, but this is my first virtual one. So hi, everyone. Happy summer. Thanks for having me, NBS. And I recognize a few of you. Everyone at Patrick Thompson Design, hi. Okay, so a little bit about the Michigan craft beer world. It's a $2 billion a year industry. And Michigan has over 400 craft breweries. It all started in Chelsea, Michigan with Bell's Brewery, but Michigan is currently the 5th largest state with craft breweries. And one of the reasons for that is because of our Great Lakes and beers made with water, and then also our rich soil, which craft brewers love to grow hops with. So one of the big differences between just say like your, Budweiser, Bud Light style beer and a craft beer is the taste, and it's the hops that the brewers are able to put into the beer and change the taste and do the different profiles of craft beer, which is one of the reasons why it makes it so different and so great. So, yep, like they said, like Megan and Lori said, today we're going to taste two different beers. The first beer we're going to taste is, we'll do the Griffin Claw Mr. Blue Sky. So Griffin Claw Brewery is actually down the street from my house. It's in Birmingham, Michigan. And they started brewing their beer at Big Rock Chop House, which was next door, a restaurant they'd owned, I think, for about 35 years. I used to work there, actually, when I was in college. And they made a beer called Norm's Raggedy Ass that became really, really popular, IPA. And so after that became really popular, they decided to open up Griffin Claw Brewery, and they made Mr. Blue Sky as their beer to kind of go next to Norm's Raggedy Ass as a different type of beer. So Mr. Blue Sky is an American wheat pale ale, so it's kind of a hybrid of a pale ale and a wheat beer. They put in grapefruit rind and coriander. It's a really great light beer, but there's also a lot of flavor going on. So if you have a glass, feel free to open it and pour it into the glass. We can look at it and smell it. If not, you can just drink it straight out of the can. So it's got a good color on it. It's pretty golden. It's got, a thin, tight white head. It smells like your typical kind of wheat beer. It's a little bit lighter. I smell more coriander than I do grapefruit. But it's a crisp beer. It's a great beer for, if you want to have a beer during the day or if you're grilling. It's a great, refreshing summertime beer. The ABV, is 4.5%. So for a craft beer, it's not that heavy. So if you want to have a few beers, you're probably fine. You're not going to get, drunk off of that. It's a little bit lighter than a Hefeweizen. So it doesn't have that like full mouth taste like a Hefeweizen does. It's kind of just lighter and crispier. The taste isn't that remarkable. It's more just lighter, smooth. And it's a great beer if you aren't certain about craft beers and you're just trying to get into the craft beer world. This is a great first beer to try. It's not really off-putting. It's not that different than other more popular, just regular beers that are out there. So this is, if you want to get into the craft world, this craft beer world, this won't be too shocking to your system. But it's a fun, good beer. The Mr. Blue Sky beer pretty much speaks for itself. It is their number one selling beer in the tap room. And I think just because it is kind of just like a standard beer and most people who don't know what they like yet will like this beer. So, if you have a friend that doesn't know what kind of, craft beer they like, this is a first good beer to try. So the next beer we're going to try is this M43, and this is from Old Nation Brewery. And this brewery is in Williamston near Lansing. So the brewer at this brewery had been brewing beer for a long time and decided to open up Old Nation Brewing Company. And he wasn't having a lot of success. I think his name is Travis. He didn't have a beer that was like selling great. His brewery was kind of mishmash. People didn't really understand the food and nothing was going really well for him. He finally did. He made this, the M43, which is a New England style IPA in 2017. And it became so popular, he couldn't make it fast enough. They made so much, it was able to get him out of debt. And actually, saw an interview with him where they couldn't make enough at the brewery in Williamston, so they started making it at a brewery in Detroit as well. And one of the problems they were having with expanding the brewery to a different city was the type of water. So I guess the water in Lansing was different than the water in Detroit. So that was one of the things he had to overcome was trying to get the beer to taste the exact same. So now people who are tasting this beer have a lot of fun trying to figure out which brewery it came from. The good thing is they have a 50-50 chance of being right. But the directions on this beer say, don't freak out, sediment, what can you do about it, roll the can. Because it's a hazy IPA, the sediment sometimes goes down to the bottom, so they want you just to roll the can and back and forth. It kind of mixes up the beer. So then we're going to pour it, if you have a glass. And you'll see that it is kind of has more of a hazy color than a standard IPA. And then this beer too, for an IPA, the ABV isn't as high as a lot of them are. This is 6.8%. But still it's a lot stronger than the Mr. Blue Sky. And the IBU is 65 versus, I think, 6 on the Mr. Blue Sky. And that is just the bitterness with the beer. So, but most IPAs have a more bitter taste. So this IPA is less bitter than most. And it kind of looks like an orange juice when it's in the glass. This is a really juicy IPA is how most people describe it. It's got hints of pineapple and orange. And for most people, this beer is more approachable as an IPA versus other IPAs because it's so juicy and it's got a fruit-forward smell and taste versus other IPAs. So this is a popular IPA for people that are just starting to get into this type of beer. This beer is made with oats and dry hops. So again, like I said, it's not that bitter, and it's got more of a juicy quality. So when you smell it, I smell like a lot of pineapple, but it looks more like an orange juice. My beer has been sitting out for probably about 20 minutes. I like to drink this beer when it's like really, really cold. But it's super fresh still. The taste is really robust. It's got a really tropical smell, which I love. It's got a whole mouth feel. This is one of my actual favorite IPAs. I can get in real trouble with this IPA just because the way it tastes, it doesn't taste like it's that strong, and it comes in a 16-ounce can. So, drinking one or two of these is not a problem, but it's actually, sneakily stronger than it tastes. So there's kind of like a grassy taste at the end as well. But again, I love like the whole mouth taste and the robust, fruit forward taste. So yeah, the New England style, that's just a big difference between the New England style IPA and other IPAs is just like the hazy taste. But I think that Old Nation does a really great job with maximizing the aroma and the flavor of this beer and then minimizing the bitterness of it as well. So those are those two beers. And so after tasting both these beers, hopefully you get the difference of a taste, difference between a pale ale and an IPA. And you can kind of judge which one you like better. When you're drinking a beer, the good thing to remember is just what you like. So, 1, 2, 3 days, 3 months after you drink it, it's just, you'll just remember which beer you liked and the taste. Kind of like when you go to a wedding and, you don't remember what food was served and what conversation was, but you had fun at the wedding. Hopefully, that's what you get out of trying different beers. So you'll just kind of start to learn what you like and what you don't like. So, anyway, I hope everyone enjoys their last few weeks of summer. This was really fun for me to do. And thank you, NBS, for having me. Real quick, I think we want to do one more poll, though. Which one was your favorite beer? Did you guys like the Mr. Blue Sky better or the M43?
Kathy, while the votes are coming in, can you tell me about your business? Like you come out in a truck and you tell me what you do.
Yeah, exactly. So people hire us for private events, weddings, corporate parties, birthday parties, that kind of stuff. And yeah, what we do is we just come out and we will bartend for the night. So we do a lot of different signature cocktails. We'll even just pour beer and wine. We're licensed and insured. So that helps if you need, for corporate events and stuff like that. But I do have a horse trailer that I turned into a bar, and it's actually been really, really popular this summer just because it helps people social distance. But I can park that, in anyone's backyard, on their driveway. We've taken it to Easter Market and like Royal Oak Farmers Market, bigger spaces for weddings and that kind of thing.
I think we've got more votes than for Mr. Blue Sky.
Yeah, based on that, I think we have more for Blue Sky.
Yeah,
wow. I'm going to try that again.
It's interesting too, Kathy, because they both have notes of grapefruit. But do you think because of the ABV that you get the different taste, even though they've got some similar citrusy qualities?
Yeah, definitely. Like the Mr. Blue Sky is definitely just a lot lighter. The M43, I think it's more, the ABV, but the bitterness as well too. Mm-hmm. So just a lot stronger flavor and taste with M43.
Kathy, this is John Barber from NBS. I appreciate the tip of rolling the can because I've had this beer before, and sometimes it has sit in my refrigerator for a couple weeks.
Oh, yeah.
So knowing to roll the can before you drink it and just kind of get that mixture going is it made it just taste a lot better for me.
Oh, good. And actually, on the can should be the bottle date, and it should, like, I think mine was, I can't read it. I read it earlier. It was June something, but you should usually drink this beer, or most IPAs, within 3 months of it being bottled. The fresher, the better, too.
That shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of like a nice wine. Don't let it sit in your fridge too long.
Yeah, this is Kevin. Is that all beer you should roll?
No, it was just on the hazy IPA because of the sediment and the way that it is filtered and sits in the can.
All right, well, a huge thank you to Kathy for sharing her expertise with us today.